Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is episode 124 of the School of S.H.R.E.D, brought to you by the School of S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy, the program that's designed to help you relearn and rediscover your holistic health and fitness. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. This is the show that's designed to help you shred old and make better your new. Oh, yeah, we do a lot of things here. We shred body fat, we shred limitations, we shred habits that are no longer serving us. We get better day by day in every way. Today, what we're going to be talking about is how to sleep better, how to get to sleep. Something that I think needs to be addressed. I think there's a lot of people out there. You might be one of them. You might be nodding your head as we go through this episode of people who, when they go to bed, they can't get to sleep. All right, they lay around, they toss, they turn, and they're awake at bed, which it can be pretty brutal. People consider it insomnia when you lay down at night and you can't sleep. So before we go to jump into this, go emoji in the comments, say what's up, where you're at. You get a workout in already today. Shout out to everybody who got a workout today. This is episode 124 of the School of S.H.R.E.D. We are here Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we're all on Spotify, iTunes. Just search the School of S.H.R.E.D. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's unpack this bad boy. So I'm going to give you guys some tips. I got 5 tips for you today. You know kind of how we like to do it. I've developed this show is developed in more of a daily quick hits on what you could do to tackle whatever obstacle that I might confront you with here. All right, good. We got people training legs already on a Monday. Damn, go-getters out there. So we got 5 tips today, though, and we're going to be talking about how to get better sleep. So if you find yourself awake at bed when you go to lay down, this is very, very common, and there are some things that you can try doing to help increase your sleep quality, because as we've talked about before, there's 2 states of being essentially for the nervous system. There is the fight or flight state of being, and there's the rest digest. So you have one called the parasympathetic, which is the rest digest. This is when your body is relaxed, it's regenerating, it's recovering. And then the other ones where you're charged up, you have adrenaline going, you have cortisol up, you're awake, you're alert. That's the fight-flight response that is coming from the sympathetic branch of the central nervous system. So we live in kind of a world where we have a lot of stressors that are coming at us all the time. And it's not just physiological stressors, and it's also psychological stressors as well. I think a lot of us have quite a few psychological stressors going on right now, which is perfectly fine. But the greatest art and the greatest balancing act, I think, that our lives, that we have to overcome in our lives, is this act of finding balance that's relative to us. So what balances you out between fight or flight and rest and digest? Because you need to have both. They're both important. When you exercise, you're sending a massive stress response on a physiological level. That's totally fine. But when you sleep, you want to fall into this rest and digest. This is why meditation becomes important as well, is because that can combat some of the psychological stress that we might go through on a day-to-day basis, because this is life. It's tough. Get a helmet and strap in, but we have to learn this art, this delicate dance of stress and stress management. And so one of the issues that we run with stress management is, if we're elevated before bed, it's hard to get to sleep, and it can affect our overall sleep cycles. And sleep cycles tend to self-serve and exacerbate the problem. Meaning, like, if you can't sleep, lack of sleep creates more lack of sleep. And the longer you go without sleeping, or the more you have disturbed sleep, the more it starts to get into your head, and then it becomes psychological. It might have started off as physiological. Maybe you were just wired, you couldn't sleep a few nights in a row, but then you start to stress out that you might have to wake up early. I've done it, where you're laying in bed and you're like, man, I gotta get up in 5 hours. And I gotta give them 4 hours. I gotta give them 3 hours. And it's like you basically took a nap. And this has been shown to exacerbate atherosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries, which puts you at risk for heart disease, the #1 killer of Americans. And so we really need to hack this. We need to take this seriously. It's not something to just shrug off. I've had clients before that kind of shrug us off. Oh, I just can't sleep. It's like, if you can't sleep, you're putting yourself at risk for major disease. Sleep is in a class of its own with how important it is. This is something that non-negotiable to S.H.R.E.D. Have assignments on this that we go do. I mean, most of the recovery vault, the S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy, is dedicated to better sleep because it's so important. And so there's a key point that I want to get into today, and that a good night's sleep starts several hours before bedtime. Okay, I'm going to say that again. A good night of sleep, restorative sleep, starts several hours before you lay your head down and try to sleep. Okay, so what this means is we need to start prepping for a night's sleep, a good night's sleep, before we rest our pretty little heads down. And we're going to do that in 5 ways today. All right, 5 ways. So let's get into it. The first one is no caffeine 6 hours before bed. You feel me? So if you guys don't have a pen and a journal out, you should get one out right now and write these down. This is free training, you guys. No caffeine 6+ hours before bed. Now, at least 6 hours before bed, I should say. So caffeine stimulates the release of cortisol. Cortisol is an awakening hormone. It also is a appetite suppressor. And so it's a good hormone to have. We want it early in the day. And then a little charge in the afternoon is fine. But 6 hours before bed, we don't want any caffeine. We don't want any what we call synthetic fight or flight spikes. Okay, synthetic, right? So coming from outside sources, exogenous, whatever your nomenclature is that you like. So no caffeine 6 hours before bed is number one. All right. So even from green tea, even if you like to have a diet soda, if you're still doing diet soda, I'd recommend against it as time goes on, but it's not going to kill you in the beginning. So if you're doing that, say if it's something that's got caffeine in it, you might not realize it has caffeine. No caffeine. If you're going to get tea, get uncaffeinated teas. There's a lot of great ones that actually can actually help induce more of a sleepy type state. There's peppermint tea. There's kava tea. There's a lot of good stuff. You can get caffeine free. Oh gosh, what is it called? What do we do? Earl Grey tea. That's a good one. All right. So number 2 is block blue light. So dim your house down a couple hours before bed. So no bright lights. Think of like a kind of a lodgy type feel where it's almost like looks like candlelit. There's no direct light bulbs that you can see in your house. You don't have overhead lighting going. Maybe you have it dropped down to those little like candle lights. I'd recommend staying away from candles because they release soot, and that can be a toxic chemical to the body. If you notice, if you've ever burned candles, they can like stain your walls and stuff like that. This is one that took me a long time because I grew up with a mom who likes candles a lot. So as a very testosterone-driven male, I liked candles for a long time as well. So you can do little lights. I like to do oil diffuser. Those guys give a nice little glow in the corner room and light the house up enough. Now we have Christmas trees out, and so that's a nice dim light. But no direct lights, block blue lights. And then you also have screen time. So if you limit your screen time at night, so whether that's a TV, a computer, your phone, get off your phone before bed, or get a screen filter. Even screen filters, you're kind of playing with fire a little bit, but it will help improve stopping the blue light coming in. What does blue light do when it comes inside the eyes? Is it stops the production of melatonin. Melatonin is your sleepy hormone. And so what happens is essentially if you're looking into blue light or overhead light, you're going to feel more wired because you're getting this synthetic charge of cortisol through your body. Or you're getting a synthetic form that causes cortisol to be released in your body, and then it kind of keeps you awake. So this is big. I remember one time I was on a road trip, and it was like 10 o'clock. I'd been driving. I think I drove 16 hours that day, and I was falling asleep almost but we had like an hour and a half to go to get to our destination. And I remember like wanting to stop and get food, but I wanted to go in. And I remember going in, and the overhead lights at this place that we stopped at, it woke me up just enough, and then I was good to go again. So, which is pretty wild, but I knew that the blue light, from going into an establishment would wake me up. So it's something you can use to your advantage if you're ever driving 16+ hours, but try to block it to get better sleep. And so you can do that about 2 hours before bed. That is great. At least an hour before bed. We don't want to shunt melatonin production, which helps us get to sleep. Number 3 is have a bolus of carbohydrates 2 hours before bed. A bolus of carbohydrates, what we'll do is it'll increase a sleepy response by increasing insulin. And insulin is one of our anabolic hormones, also known as a rest and digest hormone. Carbohydrates also are the building blocks for serotonin, and serotonin is the building blocks for melatonin. So by upping neurotransmitter production in the gut, which is what carbohydrates do, good starchy carbohydrates like potatoes or sweet potatoes. I'll do like sweet potatoes and a little bit of honey on them, or even some fruit or something like that. But that's a different sugar. It's a fruit sugar, fructose. So if you're doing like a starchy though, what happens is it can help produce more neurotransmitters, and then that helps you to create more melatonin and then get to sleep. So I always notice this anyway. Back when I first started lifting weights, I was doing the whole low fat thing. So I'd do egg whites in the morning and oatmeal. And I always noticed that about 2.5, 3 hours after that meal, I'd be sleepy. If you're eating cereal or you're eating carbohydrates for breakfast right now, you might be noticing the same thing, that you have those mid-morning lows. And this is why I recommend a high-fat, low-carbohydrate breakfast to most people. But if you strategically use that before bed, it can actually help you sleep at the right time, and then you get really restful sleep. So that insulin spike for me really puts me to bed well. And when I test this with clients, it works for most people pretty well too. And the thing is if you're having a hard time getting to bed right now, a hard time sleeping, you're going to need to stack all these things I'm talking about, because I'm not saying this is going to be easy. I have worked with individuals that they have to do a lot and they really struggle with sleep. And if they're not on board to do numerous things and to never give up, they get defeated and they just accept it. And they put themselves at, 10, 20, 30, 40-year risk for disease because they're not addressing this giant in the room, which is sleep. And so please write these down, re-listen to this episode, and do all of these things, or one of them, whatever works. Do them and combine them so you can get better sleep. Your sleep is so important, you guys. So, but I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Expect it to be hard. Expect things to be extremely challenging and hard. And if they end up being a little easier than you anticipated, well, then that's a win. Okay. But I'm just saying, like, you might have to stack quite a few of these guys. So number 4 is going to be read 1 hour before bedtime. Okay. Reading. So people always make the joke of, I don't read unless I want to sleep. Well, it does help get you in that nice relaxed state. This is something I like to do a lot, is read before bed. Kick all the lights down to just a little snap-on light. I don't have it here. A little snap-on light that I put on my book, and I can read that way. And I'll have blue blocking glasses on while I'm reading. This can help you fall into a nice relaxed state. There's no stimulus via electronics. There's no screens going on. You have no bright lights on. So if you start doing this about an hour before bed, number 1, you're nourishing your brain. You're nourishing, your mind, body, soul by reading. Depending on what you're reading, you can read a really good book. You can learn something new. You can learn something about yourself, or a book that you like, a hobby that you like. Find something that interests you and read. Leaders are readers. And so I talk about this a lot, which is just reading in general is really good. But this is a perfect time to bookend your day. I like to do a little reading in the morning, a little reading at night. And, even if it's an hour, just at least 10, 15 minutes can really help you. But I'd recommend an hour. So 1 hour before bed, you read a book, no screens, nothing like that, and nourish your mind. And then what you can do is number 5. So if you read for 45 minutes or 50 minutes, you say it's 10 o'clock, you want to go to bed by 11 p.m. You start reading at 10 p.m. This is your new routine that you create for yourself. 10 p.m., hard stop, set a timer on your phone. As soon as that goes off, you're prepping for bed. You brush your teeth, you get in bed, you start reading, and then you can have another alarm go off at, say, 10:50. And at 10:50, you throw some headphones on and you do number 5, which is meditate. Meditate for 10 to 20 minutes with headphones on, 0 distractions, no kids around. Hopefully your kids are sleeping. No animals around. I have animals that crawl over me if I have the door open in my office. So shut your door, sit on the floor in the namaste position, cross your legs, a crisscross position. Really take it very seriously. Straighten your spine out, breathe through the belly, through the diaphragm, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just do nice box breathing. You can do 4 seconds in, 4 second hold, 4 second exhale, 4 second hold, 4 seconds in. You can do that. count to 30, or you can just picture the words breathing in, breathing out as you inhale, breathing in. As you exhale, picture the words breathing out. When you do that, you're stopping your mind from thinking, and this is how you start to control your thoughts. This is how you learn to redirect erratic thoughts. And I was talking to a client yesterday about this, and I was mentioning the fact that a lot of people say that can't sleep. A lot of people, I've heard them say, oh, I've tried meditating. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work because you didn't stick to it. This is the reality of it, you guys. Unless you commit at least a month of every single day doing 10 minutes a day, and you take this seriously, and you really learn what a champion mindset is by following through on what you say you're going to do. Okay, and you do this 10 minutes a day, every day for 30 days. Only then do I think you're going to actually see the result of calming your brain down, calming the mind down. You are not going to calm your mind down with one meditation. You are not skilled. It's a skill. Calming the mind is a skill. You're not going to be able to do it in one session or 2 sessions or 3 sessions. You might get, within the first week, you'll probably get some big wins. You're like, wow, that felt really good. But it goes way deeper. It goes way deeper if you do this thing for 30 days. And then you'll start to develop a real discipline and a real practice meditation. So it's a little irritating to me because I've heard people disregard meditation so many times, and it's because I know they're not doing it long enough. They're not doing it long enough. They're committing enough time, because most of us, we want instant gratification because we live in a world that feeds that monster that just wants everything to be done in 2.5 seconds. That we don't want to commit time to anything, which is partially why we have mental illness, because people don't get good at things because they don't commit enough time. We don't feel good enough. We don't get things as quickly as we like. We have an instant gratification society. Meditation is like one of those things that's gonna highlight that and teach you that. It is the thing to make you realize that there is no instant gratification. So commit some time with this. 10 minutes before bed, go sit down with headphones on, no distractions, meditate, practice it for a month, put it on your calendar, stay accountable to it, have a timer go off so you know you need to go do this. Get an app like Calm or Headspace. Those are all free apps, or you could even pull up YouTube and have a guided meditation. Get some of those theta brain waves coming through your dome, through a headset. And this can seriously help. I believe this will help for everybody who takes it seriously. I feel like people don't take it seriously enough, and that's why they don't think that meditation works. Because I've heard it way too many times from people who they're how they do anything is how they do everything. They don't commit to anything long enough to really see the result. And it's frustrating to me because human beings and these people that I talk to have way more potential than they're given off, and then they're capitalizing on. And following through on things is so important in life. It's important in your fitness. It's important in your diet. It's important in your relationships. And it's certainly important in your meditation practices that will help you get better sleep. So you got to ask yourself the question of how bad do you really want to get to bed at night? How bad do you want to combat being awake at bed? So that's episode 124. Number 1 was no caffeine 6 hours before bed. Number 2 was block blue light, dim your house before bed. Number 3 was have a bowl of carbohydrates about 2 hours before bed. That can increase sleepy hormones. And then number 4 is read a book 1 hour before bed. No screens, no filters, no bright lights. Number 5 was meditate 10 to 20 minutes. Learn to redirect your erratic thoughts. That is episode 124 of the School of S.H.R.E.D. Thanks for hanging out with me today. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Throw me a flex emoji in the comments if you're still with me. If you got value out of this, I hope you did. Like I said, replay this episode, save this episode, especially if you're having issues with sleep. This is a bunch of valuable free information, you guys. If you want more, you can go to theschoolofshred.com. You can sign up to become a student at my online health academy and join me for the first 90 days of assignments and classes and online personal training with yours truly. This is not just an automated program. You're going to have full access to me and the help that you need and the questions that are pertinent to your goals. And you're going to learn how to fish. You're not going to have somebody fish for you. You're going to be able to eat lifetime opposed to eat one time, because I'm going to take you through a system that shepherds you into relearning and rediscovering holistic health and fitness is. All right. By combining ancestral type living of the past and ancestral type eating, combining that with the new age and just opening your eyes to some cool things and showing you everything I've learned in the last 10 years as a personal trainer. So with that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And with that, stay strong, healthy in body, stay relentless and energized in spirit, stay determined in your pursuits today. That spells shred. Now go shred today and get better in every way.